So guys, I'm Chris Wintermeyer, and I'm the chief advocate for Domo. We were going to go with chief evangelist, but as a non-Mormon out of Utah, we thought that might be a little risky, so we decided to go with advocate instead. Eliza is here with me, and what we want to do today, hopefully, if we can actually get an image on the screen, is we're going to talk to you a little bit about a survey that we just completed, talking to executives and business leaders about their business intelligence needs. And then we've got a little quiz for you, and we've got some goodies to give away. We've got some footballs here, and she's got deadly accurate aim, so this is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to do it right here from the stage. But in the meantime, Eliza, anything that you want to say before we kick off? Just about the booth or about the demos, you want me to talk about that a little bit?
So Chris will be doing, so our booth is just down here, IL 200, it's 217. Chris, after this too, is doing demos all day today, Wednesday and Thursday, and Chris also has another speaking session on Thursday at 1:30. Yes, he does. So you can also come to that as well, and it'll be a really good session.
So, sorry guys.
Yay!
Hey! What do you know?
We're in business.
So are you guys saying that it actually took a ThinkPad to fix this problem? Is that what we're saying?
Guys, it was a coincidence.
Because Steve Jobs is spinning right now, if that's the case. So.
All right, let's do it.
So, yeah, guys, let me just make one little quick change and we're good to go.
So if you guys want to set up demos, Chris will show you Domo, an in-depth preview, however long you want, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, you name it, but it can be one-on-one. Just come over to our booth and sign up and your world will be changed.
And there we are.
Okay.
So the only thing we don't have are the numbers, so we're just gonna have to wing it because the display's jacked up. So guys, we conducted a study through one of our sister sites called businessintelligence.com. And this, you can actually go to domo.com/learn to get that study as well as some others. In fact, there's even a webinar that I recorded a few weeks ago that's available. But we basically surveyed hundreds of business leaders about their information that they're getting out of their organization and how easy or difficult it was to access that. And the real thing that we found in doing this is in the folks that we talked to, there were a lot of CEOs, but we had a lot of other executives that we surveyed as well in pretty much every department across the board. So this was not just marketing people or not just salespeople or HR folks. And we talked to folks in a variety of different age ranges. And then also with the non-CEOs, as well as the CEOs, notice the experience level. We're not talking about rookies here. We're talking about folks that have done this for a while. Those, by the way, are not the folks that we targeted. It's just the way the demographics shook out in the study that we did last month. And as a SaaS-based BI provider, what we wanted to know is what are the kind of challenges that you're running into? What are the problems that you're having? And we wanted to know if we were then able to make our software fit those particular needs. And these are some of the things that we heard as feedback as part of the study. And the big ones were disparate data sources. Anyone sitting here working with reports or producing reports or consuming reports that are coming from more than one place. In other words, not everything's coming out of SAP, or not everything's coming out of Salesforce, or not everything's coming out of Radian 6, for example. Anyone here working with multiple sources? I mean, it's pretty common. Just out of curiosity, by the way, anyone here get reports or work with any data in Excel spreadsheets? The world's most pervasive BI tool. Yeah, you gotta love it. So these are the kind of things that we heard from folks across the board. And what we did is Eliza and I took 7 of the questions, or 7 of the results from the survey and flipped them into questions. So what we wanted to do today was play a little game. And we told our marketing guy who does a lot of our graphics what we were doing, and he came up with this. And so now this has become my profile picture on LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter and everything else. I especially like the microphone.
Yeah, it doesn't look like a microphone.
It's just, yeah, you can't make that stuff up. So for the purposes of this, I'm going to be Richard Dawson. But what we're going to do is we're going to look at a few questions, and unfortunately, the way this display is set up, I don't have the answers right in front of me, so we're going to wing this as we go. And speaking of winging, are you going to be flinging these things?
I was going to fling it, but I don't want any of you to hate me, so I'll walk down and hand it to you graciously.
If it hits you in the forehead,
you actually get an imprint
of the Domo logo right on your forehead. And and then you get a free beer at the booth. That's the way that works.
So I'm going to ask this question. The first one of you to raise your hand gets a football. So what percentage of BI users say their reports contain the information they actually need or want? Okay, he raised his hand. What was it? 9%.
9%, and the answer...
It's 25%.
Are we doing participation footballs?
We are. Everybody's a winner.
Well, I think you should throw it if they get it wrong.
Oh, okay. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
At them, like right in there. So guys, this is something that we see a lot, and it doesn't surprise me. There are two main categories where we see this. One is I can't get the information that I need. In other words, I get a summary report that's showing my P&L, my balance sheet, an income statement. I'm getting an account summary. I'm getting operations summary. I'm seeing an overall summary of what's going on the show floor or on the plant floor. But I can't get other pieces that intermingle with that. For example, we see this a lot. In fact, one of our customers, H&R Block, the reason they chose Domo was they could take email campaign information and overlay it in the same chart with website traffic so that they could figure out what was the efficacy of the various campaigns that they were creating. And by changing a font or by changing a subject line, what was that impact? In other words, do we get an extra 200,000 hits to the website if we change the font or change the call out or change the discount? The other area that we saw a lot is where the exec says, I get my high level number, but I can't drill any detail. So if I see a spike or a dip, I can't do anything about it. I can't drill in to figure out what's going on. So I have to pick up the phone or send an email or call a freak out meeting to get someone to run a detailed report to tell me why this thing is happening. So those are the two things that we actually saw. Should we do the next one?
Yep. All right, what percentage of business leaders get their info from disparate data sources? 8. We have an 8%. All right, it's 74.
Throw it at them, throw it at them.
Okay.
In fact, don't they have to be ejected if they get it wrong?
Are you ready? That was a lovely throw by me. Are you ready too? Okay, almost. We're making things interesting.
They are. So, and guys, this kind of goes hand in hand. I was kind of hinting from the previous one that the number's really high. And obviously what we're talking about here is I've got data everywhere, right? I've got stuff sitting in NetSuite. I've got QuickBooks. I've got Eloqua. I've got Excel is one that we see all the time. And that's something about Domo is that we're pulling information from all those sources without you having to pull the data into a data warehouse or a data mart first. So we're going to connect into all the individual systems, the transactional systems, the spreadsheets, the files, and pull all that together on the screen in real time. And that's really the big advantage of Domo. And that's one of the reasons that a lot of the customers choose us is they don't have the money or the time, or they're sick of waiting for that data warehousing project that's been 6 months or 6 years in the making and is still not complete. So how about the next one?
All right, what percentage of execs say their reports represent a single version of the truth? No hands are coming up. All right, over here. 40? 40%?
Anyone else want to
make? What about you? 50? And we've got
What'd you say? 9?
Okay, let's see who's right.
Johnny, tell him what he's won.
Last best of all the game.
Yeah, I mean, and this really isn't a shocker, right? I mean, this goes hand in hand with what we're talking about. And this really goes to pulling those data sources together, is that people will go grab information out of SAP or Lawson or Dynamics, and then they'll pull information in from other sources and they'll manipulate it in a spreadsheet or a Google Doc or in some database and then spit that out. You got that whole human factor of fat fingering, not to mention someone using the wrong formulas, or someone not pulling in a particular source, or using a report that is older than it was supposed to. And so what you end up with is people sitting in a room fighting over what the right number is. We see this time and time again. Joe and Fred and Susie are all sitting there in the weekly e-meeting, and they're arguing because someone didn't know that there was an update to the report that came out an hour ago. And so someone's looking at a number that's now an hour old, and so they're fighting over it. Then that leads to mistrust. That means to people not using the system, or it means to people doing what I call going off the reservation. They just go get the data and they do the stuff themselves inside of Excel. It's a huge waste of time and money. Next one.
Yep. What percentage of business leaders cannot easily access their reports or data on a mobile device?
Remember, these were business leaders we talked to.
All right, 74%. What about you?
So we got two 74s?
Yep. Let's see. 72. It gets cut off right there, but it is
does.
72%.
So guys, this is a premise of Domo from day one. In fact, we developed what we call a mobile-first strategy, which means that anything that we build has to be consumable, not just on the iPhone, the Android, Windows Mobile, but as well, that exact same functionality over the web. Everything that we deliver is all HTML5. So there are no plugins, there's no Java, there's nothing that has to be installed to be able to consume that. But our philosophy is, just because you have it in your pocket, doesn't mean you should get screwed as far as functionality goes. I should be able to slice, dice, filter, drill, collaborate, do all the same things that I would do if I were working with my desktop or my laptop. It's a big part of what we do. Next one?
Next one. All right, this is one of our last ones. What percentage of CEOs are confident that their reports facilitate collaboration in their companies?
And by this, it means that it gets people talking and that it facilitates them communicating back and forth. Think chatter in Salesforce, for example.
All right, we have a 74% in the front. What about in the back? 74%? 50, 25, 50, 40. All right, all over the place. And no one is right. 8%. Shocking.
This doesn't surprise me. I mean, not at all. This is what the meetings are for, right? This is what the phone calls are for. This is what the water cooler talk and the 2 a.m. text messages are for. And our philosophy is the communication that you have around your data should be tied to the data itself. And I'll give you a perfect example. We went through about 9 months ago and cleaned out our pipeline. We're getting rid of old leads, things that hadn't been followed up on, stuff that was stale. We have alerts inside of Domo that allow users to be notified when the data moves a certain percentage or by a certain value or over a certain percentage from the previous period or previous day. We knew by cleaning out that pipeline that our CEO was going to get alerted because of an alert that he had set on the pipeline that it had moved by more than 10%, dropped in this case. But it was all fine. We were still on target to make our number for the quarter and for the year. So in the collaborative aspect of Domo, our VP of sales sent Josh James a message and said, Josh, don't panic. You're going to get an alert. We're still on track. Everything's fine for the quarter and for the year. Sure enough, about 2:30 in the morning, Josh gets the alert from Domo saying your pipeline is down 12%. But because of the message that had been sent, that was it. No freak out meeting, no phone call, no screaming, because we had already taken care of the problem. Having that communication tied directly to the data, we think is just natural. It's just the right way to do it.
I didn't forget about any of you. Everybody can come get a football after.
Oh, you're not going to throw around?
There's a million people.
All right, this one actually surprised me. I've been doing BI for 25 years. Spent most of my time at SAP, Business Objects, Hyperion, and Actuate. I've been with Domo for about 3 years. I've done hundreds and hundreds of implementations. This one surprised me a little bit.
What percentage of BI programs are purchased and managed outside of the IT department? 74%? Everybody's nodding. Got one shaking their head. What is it, Chris?
It's 40.
40%.
2 out of 5.
We're learning so much today.
2 out of 5 implementations today. And then remember, this survey was just completed a month ago. 2 out of 5 BI implementations completely bypass IT. Obviously, there are a variety of reasons. They're too slow, they're too difficult, it's too rigorous, it's taking too long, it costs too much. But we're seeing this trend more and more, specifically with Domo. We're selling into the C-suite more than anything else. The CMO, the CFO, the VP of sales are the ones who are buying Domo because we can be up and running in a lot of cases in a matter of days. In some cases in complexity, we're talking a matter of weeks, but still definitely under 2 months. Our average implementation is 35 days right now. This is something that obviously is a lot less than we see with traditional BI because of the way we implement, but 2 out of 5, IT's not even getting consulted. And these are not just little mom and pop shops. We're talking about one of my customers is a Fortune 10, and they were actually one of the respondents in this survey that were in this 4 out of 10 who said that they did not involve IT.
I think that was the last.
Last one.
This is the last question. As a percentage, how much growth did SaaS BI experience in 2012?
Remember, that's business intelligence in the cloud. That's putting your data outside of your 4 walls. Change is scary.
No takers, right? 50?
74 is the most popular number today.
I know.
Did I hear 50?
Yep. Right here too.
It's exactly what it is. 50% growth
Nice
in
work.
2012. And we're just getting started. From a SaaS perspective, when it comes to business intelligence, we are still in its infancy. And obviously there are things that you need to consider, right? There are regulations, there's compliance, there's HIPAA, there's all kinds of things that come into play where certain data may not be stored in the cloud. But there's lots of information that can be stored in the cloud. And our security team, in conjunction with some of our customers, actually has determined through audits of our customers that the data that they're storing in the Domo cloud is actually more secure than when it was being stored inside their four walls because of various things like ports that have been opened that no one knew about, VPN access on mobile devices, all kinds of things that come into play. So just because it's in the cloud doesn't mean that it's not secure. So guys, we'd love for you to come over to the booth. Just wanted to give you a little taste of the folks that we're dealing with. Again, keep in mind, these are not just little guys. These are not just mom and pop shops. There are some big folks here too. And we don't focus on any one industry. We're not the marketing people. We're not the sales people. We're not the HR people. To us, data is data. And we've hired subject matter expertise from basically around the world in a variety of industries. And we have over 17,000 pre-built reports. So if you say to me, I'm a CMO of an automotive manufacturing organization and I'm looking to measure things that involve social and sentiment and email campaign efficacy, we can pull from that library 40 or 50 reports. You won't want to use that many, but you'll start with that number of things that may be of use to you. Or if you say, I'm the CFO of a financial services organization and I'm looking to measure these kind of things, we can help you get going as opposed to you just taking a blank screen and having to start from scratch. So what we'd really like to do is just have you come down to 217. We're right over there. This guy, they're going to have me chained to a table upstairs doing demos, and I'd be more than happy to sit down and talk with you specifically about your needs and show you what Domo looks like, because a picture's worth 1,000 words, and just see if there might be a fit. Do we want to take questions? Do we have time to take questions? Are we allowed to take questions? Are there any questions? Yeah. Is there a list of applications that we work with? So we don't publish the list because we consider it a competitive advantage, but I have the list. So if you tell me the things that you want to connect to, I can tell you whether we connect to it or not. We've got 973 connectors built today and another 1,500 on the list to be developed over the next 12 months. And that's everything from Hadoop and Teradata down to individual winery management applications with a specific API. Any other questions? Yeah.
You guys use your software internally to manage your marketing stuff?
Do we use our own software to manage our marketing? We do not. We're actually a Marketo and an Eloqua shop, and we also use ExactTarget for email campaigns, and we're just now getting into Radian 6 from a sentiment analysis. So we use Domo to consume that information, not to manage the actual campaigns themselves, but the results come in through Domo. That's right. Any other questions? Guys, thank you for the time. Appreciate it. Thanks.